Welcome to Math Mini Lessons, and in today's lesson, we're going to solve word problems with fractional values without a calculator.
Jumping right into our first model, write an expression that has the same value as -5/6 minus 3/4. So another way I can rewrite this, since I have to write another expression, since this is subtraction, I'm going to rewrite this with additive inverse. So here's my original one, 5/6 minus 3/4, and I'm going to keep my first number the same. And I'm going to actually use the name in additive, meaning I'm going to rewrite this into an addition problem rather than subtraction. And my inverse, I'm going to add the opposite of this value, 3/4. So the opposite of 3/4 is -3/4, and now my expression has clearly been rewritten. You can hit pause, you can jot this down into your notes. Both of these expressions have the exact same value. So remember, anytime you see a subtraction problem, and this is very, very helpful when you see a negative and then a minus sign, that can be very, very confusing. So oftentimes we simply rewrite this as an addition problem where it's very easy to see what's happening with these two numbers. Let's look at our second modeled problem. Kyle poured 3/4 cups of milk to make breakfast. He poured out another 1 2/3 cups of milk for cereal. What is the overall change in the amount of milk? So going will solve. Let's start by just stating the problem itself and just complete quote, what is the overall change in the amount of milk? Or in my own words, how much did the amount of milk change? So let's look at some facts here. And we're going to start with the two things that happen is he's pouring milk. So we know he's losing milk. So our change is going to be negative. And he poured 3/4 cups of milk and then another 1 2/3 cups of milk. So those are my facts. Those are both going to be negatives because they're a loss. They represent a pouring. So here's my plan. I'm going to find the overall change by adding all the changes. I'm going to add -3/4 and add -1 2/3. And then I'm going to make sure that my final answer is not an improper fraction and that it is a simplified answer. Hit pause so you can jot this into your notes. Here's my perfect expression. So I have -3/4 plus -1 2/3. And the first problem I'm going to have is I'm going to have to change to an improper fraction. I can't add those up as is. So let's change 1 2/3 is the same. Let's see. So again, I'm multiplying around. 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5/3. Now I can add these up. 3/4 plus 5/3. You may be asking, why can I add them up? Well, they're both negative numbers, so I'm just going to have a more negative because I've lost more. So I'm not worried about putting two negatives here. I know that they're the same. They're both negative, so I can add the integers up together. So we're going to use our triple threat for this. We're going to multiply to get a common denominator, and then we're going to cross multiply to get our numerator. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 5 makes 20. So I'm going to put it on the right, and 3 times 3 makes 9. And now I can add these two up, and I get 29/12. Now let's just make sure this is absolutely an improper fraction. So you can either do some mental division, do 29 divided by 12, or if you really, really get stuck, you can turn it into a long division problem like this. But I'm going to use the mental math just to get here. 29 divided by 12 is 2. That's 24. And that would leave me with 5 out of 12. So this is how much he lost. My final answer, the overall change was -2 5/12 cups of milk. So that was the change. He lost that much milk. Hit pause so you can jot this down into your notes. And make sure you're doing another check. We want to make sure that we couldn't simplify it, which 5 and 12 we cannot simplify. Is not improper. And just double check to see that your actual notation works, makes sense, that we didn't make any calculation errors. All of these are actually correct. So you can hit pause, add them to your notes. See you next time, Math Marbles.